First off, welcome from McClure Publishing Incorporated. The content contained in this recording is for ages 18 and up. We are a publishing house that has been in business since 2006. We publish and make books available through our international and national distributors. We also offer bookstore availability. We are available to assist you in helping you become an international author. Contact us at 800-659-4908 or email us to assist you in meeting your publishing needs at mclurepublishing@msn.com. It is our desire to see people write and publish, to leave a legacy for their family, and to get one started in the literary world. This is a growing industry of audio, hardcovers, paperbacks, and electronic copies that can reach the world. People are still reading books. Now the method of purchasing their books have changed for some. There are some customers who like to read hardbacks. Then there are some who do not mind reading a paperback. And then there is a new trend of books, ebooks and iBooks. The Kindle, the Nook, tablets, e-reader, iPad, iPod, iPhone, Androids, you name it, can be used to download electronic books to read and or listen to. So think about your audience when you write and publish. Your audience may consist of children, teens, and or adults. Whatever genre you choose, write for that particular audience. Also remember writing in different languages to reach those who do not speak your language. In this tutorial, I will be teaching about genres, wordology, fun using words, the proper usage of words, writing tips, distribution, assistance with finding your niche, and one tip for public speaking. Before you start writing, you should consider the genre you are going to write in. Some books are written as nonfiction, while some are written as fictional novels. The difference between nonfiction and fiction is one is a true story while the other is a story that is made up. Nonfiction is true while fiction is not true. When you write, you might decide to write a true story and change some of it to make the story more interesting and intriguing. Well, if you do, the true story becomes a fictional book. Listed below are several genres. Drama, theatrical performance writings where conflicts and emotion are expressed through dialogue and action. Erotica, story writings based on sexual content. Fable, narration writing in which animals speak as humans, legendary supernatural tale. Fairy tale, magical creatures or writing about fairies more than likely for children. Fantasy, fiction that creates suspicion of reality with strange or other worldly settings or characters. Horror, fiction writing of events with horrific scenes and characters that provoke scary, creepy, chilling, blood-curdling, emotional feelings. Humor can be in every type of writing, which could be true or not true for enjoyment, entertainment, and amusing. Murder mystery could be horror, but written where each chapter has clues to help solve the murder through investigating the crime. Mysteries consist of writing solutions of crimes that unravel secrets that were not as obvious to the reader. I wrote a romance biblical novel where the murder scene comes after the church scene to build the story from that direction. Since it is not a murder mystery, I did not put the murder in the first chapter. Poetry could be written in rhythmic form that tells a story of writing that creates a story to create an emotional response. I also see poetry as lyrics to songs, science fiction, imaginative, impactful future writings or writings of planets with a story base, thriller, written so that the reader will know the murderer, but the other characters in the story do not. So writing it where the characters are trying to figure out who did it. Biography, autobiography. A biography is a true story of a person's life written by someone else. And an autobiography is a true story written of their own life. There are so many other genres, and the list goes on and on. You can write adventure, short stories, speeches, essays, movies, sitcoms, radio scripts, etc. Broaden your view when you write. There are unlimited opportunities of possibilities to take you far. First chapter, last chapter. First chapters are different in most writings. If you are writing a murder mystery, it is always best to have the murder in your first chapter, then write the other chapters in a way that you leave clues throughout trying to solve the mystery. In the end, the mystery should be solved unless you are writing a part 2. In other genres, be sure that your first chapter pops. Make it very interesting to cause the reader to want to read the rest of the book. Your last chapter is the conclusion of the story. All loose ends must be tied. This is where you summarize the whole book so that the reader can see exactly what was in the story, then end it. If the story is written in a heroic villain form, be sure to show throughout the book where the villain is winning until the end. In the end, the hero should conquer all. Let's move on to wordology, fun using words, writing tips, the proper usage of words, distribution, assistance with finding your niche, and a tip for public speaking. After you know what genre you want to write in, think about writing and not focusing on much but the story. For those who are great writers, writing will become easy. Sometimes we can get stuck and not knowing the proper usage of the words. While you are writing, put money to the side for an editor and a proofreader to go over your work before you submit it to a publisher. This way, you will at least have less errors. Sentence structure. A complete sentence must consist of a subject, verb, and a complete thought. The English language is one that I believe we will never stop learning. Listen, effect as a noun means result. Effect as a verb means cause, and affect is a verb which means to influence. We here at McClure Publishing Incorporated have editors and proofreaders in place to help us in these areas so that we will use the proper word. Once you know the meaning of the word, you will use the correct one. Sometimes when you write, you do not always think of the right word. Write anyway and leave the editing and proofreading to the experts. And even when the experts look over your manuscript and make suggestions, you still should go behind them. Wordology, having fun with words. Words are great because we are communicating more so by texting and through social media than we are verbally communicating. Use your words carefully. The meaning of words is very important. You can say one word and it will change the meaning of the point you are trying to get across. Becoming word savvy in this information age will be beneficial to you. Remember in school, some of us did very well in English, while others just couldn't get it because the English language has so many rules. Once you learn the rules, you pretty much know how to write correctly. Build your vocabulary by adding new words in sentences. But be sure not to talk to people using a lot of big words, because if they cannot comprehend what you are saying, it will not make sense to them. Writing is the exact same way. Every now and then you can use a word that people do not use often, but be sure that the reader can understand the meaning by the way the sentence reads. I will share some words to start using in your vocabulary and writing them in sentences. Insidious, more harmful than at first evident. Insinuate, to suggest slyly. Opportune, well timed. Deprivation, lack of one or more basic necessities. Deplore, to express disapproval. In other words, be sure to add a variety of words to what you write to help the reader grow. My grandmother would always say, Kathy, read books that have words that you do not know, and then look them up in the dictionary. Let's move on to writing tips. Writing your story. Here's a tip. Add emotions to your writing. What would someone say that is determined? What would they do if they are determined to accomplish something? How would they react to those who are not as determined as you are? Build your characters through emotions. Some might be disappointed while others might be distressed. What are some of the things they might say? Another. Write for your audience. Speak their language. Language can consist of ethnic backgrounds or simply the language one speaks and is able to comprehend. Enter into every scene as if you are there with every character. Learn to see the story so that those reading it can see through your eyes. Write from a place you've been, in a smoke-filled room with people shouting applause that echo off the wall. This story is written in an era when smoking was allowed in public buildings. Add emotions to your writing, such as temperamental. It is an adjective that describes a character of being liable to unreasonable changes of mood swings. The character is one way, and minutes later, they are another. Working on a manuscript this past weekend taught me a lot about words and rules of words. Did you know that when you are writing and you are speaking about your mother, father, grandmother, granddaddy, uncle, aunt, and cousin, you should initial cap each of them? Building characters. Create characters, some that are likable and others that are not. Give characters a distinct way that the reader will know who is acting. Change characters from worse to better. Write each chapter where a problem must be solved. Toward the middle of the book, write the story where it seems as if the problem has increased and there is no way the characters can solve the problem. Have each character give their opinion of how to solve the problem. In the end, solve the problem. Here's a tip. Use action and colorful words in your manuscript. I call these words adjectives, adverbs, and verbs. Use this adjective today in a sentence. Hilarious, when describing what someone says that is humorous. Use this adverb in a sentence when describing how someone made you feel. Cheerfully. Use this verb in a sentence when describing the action of what you are going to do today. Laugh. You have to laugh. Without laughter, this would be a boring life. Here is a story to write from. Walking down a dark alley, looking around, trying to get to the other end where the street lights are, and suddenly, out of nowhere, a woman jumps out from behind the trash can. At this point, give a description of the woman and the way she looked. She scared me so badly that I jumped about 5 feet from the ground and took off running. What can this story become? I'll be adding throughout the lessons of the 6-week writing course different stories that you can write from. But remember, they're only practice, things that you can write from. You want to be sure to write your story. You can always incorporate some of this that you write. But remember, there's nothing like writing your own story. And you can make it fiction. Change the names to protect the innocent. Here's another tip. Write your outline of the manuscript of where the story will start. Create a storyboard of a timetable building your story from one scene after another. Each scene should move the story into new places. When I write, I want to enter into the story as if I am there. Here's another tip. Communicate to your audience in whatever language they speak. Books can be written in different languages. It is difficult to understand a language that you are not fluent in. Speak the language your audience speaks. Creative writing is writing dialogue in someone's dialect, accent, or native tongue. Here's an example. Bobby said, "Hey, what's up? We going to the store to pick up some brewskis. Yo, 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 you feel me?" Every time Bobby speaks, because of his dialect, we know it is him without saying, "Bobby said." Bobby seems like a cool guy, but I cannot tell what nationality he is. Can you think of ways to write dialogue where the reader knows who is speaking? Even characters from other countries. For instance, someone with a British accent. Here's another tip. Every instructor, speaker, pastor, minister, teacher, etc. should have a book published. We have ghostwriters, editors, and proofreaders in place to assist you with your manuscript. This will start you on your way to becoming a book distributor. You can distribute your own book. Take control of your own sales. Create a chart of bookstore addresses and phone numbers to call to speak to a manager regarding stocking your book in their store. Write letters and send a sample copy to see if they would like to stock your book. Keep in mind that most stores have their own agreement in place. Read it carefully and be sure you agree with the terms of the agreement. Think of more than bookstores. Cafes, restaurants, clothing stores, etc. may help you stock your book according to the genre. I heard someone get 100 no's before they received 1 yes. Do not give up on your effort. This is a great time to talk about distribution. I believe so many authors are engulfed in the part of writing their book and getting it published that they do not think about distribution. McClure Publishing Incorporated has in place 149 distribution channels, bookstore and library availability through the PubNet and PubEasy system 24/7. When a bookstore makes it seem as if they do not order print-on-demand books, you can tell them that your book is in the system to be ordered in the electronic database of books. Keep in mind that bookstores get 40% of every book sold. There are several ways books can be stocked in the stores. Number one, through consignment, where you and the bookstore manager or owner comes to an agreement of getting books printed and stocked. Number two, another way is to follow the submission guidelines of the bookstore and following their procedure in hopes that they will stock your book and that you will benefit from the sale. Number three, a wholesaler or distributor wants 55% of the price of your book before they will ship your book. And number four, there are so many other ways. Don't get stuck in one way. When you get a no, continue going. Someone will eventually buy and stock your book. Please keep in mind that if a bookstore orders, say, 50 of your books and only sell 10 books, over a period of time, they will ship the 40 books to you. You will have to pay the cost for the wholesaler and distributor of the book. Whatever that fee is, that's what you will have to pay. But then you are able to sell them yourself. This is one reason why I do not want my books in stores unless I am sure that I will benefit from the sale. As your own distributor, you can order numerous books from one to an infinite amount and start taking online orders and sell them at vendor booth opportunities. You do not always sell books at vendor booth opportunities, so it is best to have something pertaining to your book to pass out. Come up with creative ways to sell your book. It is up to you. The more your book information is in front of the public, more than likely they will purchase your book. The best way to sell your book is to write for your audience. Sell what is inside your book. Let customers know how beneficial your book is to them. It is always best to make a sale because your book is actually a product. When you do not sell books at a vendor event, do not leave upset. At least you were able to put your book in front and center of those who attended the event. The more you are excited about your book, others will take note. So sell the story inside your book and not just stand there holding it. Marketing your book. Here's a tip. Place all your information regarding your publication on all your social media pages. Give your audience a variety of options. Be creative. During this course, we will have a social media time where we'll be learning about LinkedIn and Facebook, Twitter and Instagram and all those good places to place information for free. That's your PR. Take advantage of it. For your niche, sit and contemplate, what is it that people need? Think about everything and write down what comes to mind about someone's need. Prime example, biblical books help people to see that they can make it through difficult times. One would use a story from the Bible to make it relative to someone's situation, showing how the person in the Bible survived. Another example is when people are having difficult times with money. One could show how budgeting and paying bills on time can help you save money and keep your credit score rating in the upper 700s and lower 800s. Dieting. Dieting techniques and losing weight methods are other niches that one would write in that would benefit others. Health, skincare, and hair all are beneficial to someone's life. Vampires and werewolves are also stories that sell. Textbooks of English, math, science, and history are books that would benefit school students. Romance novels, urban fiction, you name it. So when you write, think about it. Who will buy your book? Think of your book as a product. You want to design it, package it, and sell it. Before your book comes out, possibly 6 months before publication, find ways to publicize it. It sure helps to pay a company to market your book, but if you do not have the funds, do some PR work by creating social media pages, design flyers and postcards to share with others regarding your book. Use professional headshot photo along with your book cover, letting people know that they can order your book in advance. Let them know that it is set for publication in 6 months. Sell them what, as I said before, is inside your book by telling them how your book will benefit them. Although there will be an hour call that will discuss public speaking tips, let me leave you with a public speaking tip. Every writer should think about speaking publicly. Here is a tip. Breathe, speak, and breathe again. Practice taking deep breaths through your nose and releasing the air out of your mouth slowly. Stretch first before practicing this technique. Breathe in, then speak, slowly letting the air out through the words you are speaking, and breathe again. I hope that this particular course was very beneficial to you. We've covered writing in the genre of your choice, wordology, fun using words, writing tips, the proper usage of words, distribution, assistance with finding your niche, and one tip for public speaking. I would like to end this session after the question and answers, the law of time. It is important that we understand there is a synchronization of the 24 hours of which we live and the clock inside of us that is ticking from within. Managing our lives with our day-to-day routine of getting up and going to work, cleaning our homes, shopping for goods, etc. are all important. As a writer, you must make time to write and write as information comes to you. Every time you think of something pertaining to an article, script, information, and what have you, write it down. It might not make sense at the time you receive the thought, but the more you keep documenting what comes across your mind, the more you will understand the synchronization of the 24-hour clock with the clock that is within. Some writers have to enter into a zone in order to write, but after time, writing becomes natural. The more you practice, the better you will become with taking statements and writing from them. For example, number 1. The shoe store crowded because of the markdown sale of 70% off. Number 2. Sitting around the table while the family is passing bowls and platters of food. Number 3. Waking early in the morning to run. Number 4. Driving into work with bumper-to-bumper traffic. Number 5. A place of rest. Number 6. Climbing to the top of the mountain to see the other side. Number 7. On the dance floor, sluggish because... I'll let you finish that one. And lastly, number 8. Walking, holding hands as we enter the sunset. Now these 8 statements are statements, as I said before, that you can write from. They might be the middle of your story, the beginning of your story, or what have you. But see what you can add to every single statement, just for practice. What can they become? Write what happened before, during, and after the fact. You might even receive the end of the story before you write the beginning. You never know, so write anyhow. Please share with those who have not signed up yet. that there is still time. Let them know that they can either email us at mcclurepublishing@msn.com or call 800-659-4908. Thanks for your valuable time. Here's a bonus tip. Consider creating an online bookstore. Write, publish, distribute. When brick and mortar would not let McClure Publishing Incorporated in, we designed an online system that works. We have books printed and shipped to many different locations.